In early January 2026, the United States military abducted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and brought him to New York to stand trial on drug charges. Although Maduro was widely described as an authoritarian, his abduction was seen as a violation of international law and a naked attempt to control Venezuela's vast oil reserves. That has put other countries in the Americas on high alert, from Colombia to Mexico to Canada, 3 places that Donald Trump has called out in the past. But the place most vulnerable to intervention might be Greenland, a strategically located island with a small population, large mineral and oil reserves, and a US military base already on its territory. Trump's talk of annexing Greenland has intensified since the Venezuelan operation, and he even said recently that if they, quote, don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way. The threats against Greenland have been condemned by the prime ministers of Greenland and Denmark, the country that Greenland is currently part of. And they've completely upended Greenlandic politics, which have been trending toward independence for a long time. From the early 2000s until 2025, Greenland was dominated by 2 separatist parties of the left, the center-left Siumut and the left-wing IA. The 2 formed a coalition government for the last 3 years, with plans to hold a referendum on independence during the 2025 election. But they backed away from those plans after Trump's threats, fearing American domination if they separated now. That provided an opening for the opposition parties, as the question of immediate independence became tied to Trump. Nalarak, a separatist populist party, advocated for Greenland to quickly separate and get free association status with the US, putting it under American protection in exchange for economic concessions. Meanwhile, the Democrats, a center-right party which was anti-independence until recently, led the charge against American involvement in Greenland. Greenland's political map completely changed after the 2025 elections, marking the first time in 35 years that either Siumut or IA didn't finish first. Nalarak doubled their seats and finished second by winning in the rural and remote parts of Greenland which are most pro-independence. The Democrats more than tripled their seats and finished first for the first time ever, mostly by beating IA in urban areas. Although Nalarak made big gains, the success of pro-American factions should not be overstated. For one thing, Nalarak are not in favor of American control over Greenland, they're just willing to work with them. And even then, they won less than a quarter of the vote, good for only 8 out of 31 seats in the Inatsisartut, Greenland's parliament. They finished a distant third in Greenland's more urbanized south, behind both the Democrats and IA. Kuluk, the only party more pro-American than Nalarak, was also the only party not to win any seats. And that attitude extends beyond electoral politics. Vice President J.D. Vance toured the American military base as the first leg of a broader tour of Greenland against the will of the island's government. But his plans to tour the rest of Greenland were cancelled because Greenlanders, by and large, refused to speak to him. Just over a week after Vance's visit, Democrat leader Jens Frederik Nielsen formed what is basically a wartime unity government to show solidarity against the Americans. Every party except Nalarak has joined this coalition, representing almost 70% of Greenland's voters. Even Pelle Broberg, the leader of Nalarak, joined the other party leaders in his statement, saying Greenland's future would be decided by Greenlanders, without American interference. The vast majority of Greenlanders still want to separate, but they want to do it on their own terms. Nielsen said Greenlanders would rather be part of Denmark than the United States, and according to polls, 85% of Greenlanders agree. We have yet to see the Trump administration attempt regime change in a country that is widely seen as democratic, and we don't really know how the international community would react. Mette Frederiksen, the Prime Minister of Denmark, said it would be the end of NATO if Trump attacked Greenland, which is a NATO ally as part of Denmark. But despite all the condemnations, it's possible that Western countries decide Greenland just isn't important enough to take the risk of seriously defying the United States. But Frederiksen is right. The United States forcibly taking over a NATO ally would effectively kill the treaty. The 2026 Danish election, which Greenland participates in, will give us another indication of how Greenlanders and Danes feel about Trump's moves. Colombia, another targeted country, will also have parliamentary and presidential elections in 2026. Canada's election last year was similarly influenced by Trump's long-shot proposal to turn it into America's 51st state. But the total upheaval of Greenlandic politics in 2025 may have been the first indication of how Trump's credible threats of regime change can flip a democracy upside down. Will Trump follow through on those threats? For now, only Trump knows.